Hey, Cowboys Nation. How is everybody? Welcome to the debut show of Midday with Cam and Mass. Excuse the little ticker at the bottom being the other way, but
Yeah, I had,
we'll
I
get.
had to, I had to let her know it was backwards.
So, Mass, it's feeling a little bit like Christmas week for me. You
Oh,
know, like
yeah,
how the kids are
definitely.
restless all week long because it's Christmas and it's coming up. But it's football. It's football and it's here.
Yeah, except we're the restless ones, and
Right.
my young kids are like, what's going on? And I'm sitting there all anxious, like, oh, Cowboys football's coming back. It's my time of the year. Everything else is kind of pushed to the side as
Right.
Cowboys football is here, so I'm excited.
Right. Well, we've got some kind of weird news, and it was really strange yesterday. And
Mhm.
it's all about a shoe.
Yeah, it's
And
so I don't even know what to say about it.
right,
Um, you have Dak showing up on the injury report with an ankle issue. And people are, speculation coming out. Oh, did he sprain his ankle? Did he twist his ankle? What's going on? And it's none of those. From what I've been told, it's a blister
right,
because he tried out some new shoes. I guess they didn't fit properly. He didn't like the feel of them, and it caused a blister on his, I guess,
right,
the back of his heel or something like that. I'm not exactly sure where the location is. So I guess Cowboys Nation can breathe a sigh of relief.
right,
But
right,
the week right before the weekend starts, you get that news that hey, Dak's on the injury report because of an ankle. Like it almost had a Twitter meltdown.
Oh
Cam,
yeah. Oh, big time, big time. It okay, first of all, it's so weird that a blister would have to be put on a report,
right?
or anything
Like
like that. I
I
mean,
I I don't get that. Like why you have to report that. That hey, especially on the ankle.
right,
That's really weird. But I guess they're just trying not to get fined by hiding anything. You know, there's some coaches that are experts, like Bill Belichick, at like putting everything on the injury report, though, so nobody ever knows what's going on. I think one season Tom Brady was on the injury report the entire season, never missed a snap.
right,
Like
right. And my thing is why are we waiting until the last practice, full practice before the game to try new shoes? You
yeah,
know?
that's another thing that's really really weird to me is um why are we trying the shoes at that point? Why weren't these shoes already broken in? And I don't remember who said it. I'm not going to take full credit for it, and I apologize for not being able to credit who said it. But I did see somebody say like, why is QB1 walking on the field with shoes that are not perfectly fitted to him?
Right,
Like this
right.
is the Dallas Cowboys, multi-billion-dollar organization. Why are we not having specially like why are these shoes not specially fitted? TC,
Right,
good seeing you.
right, right. I'm just gonna give Dak a little advice from a woman's point of view. I'm not
Y'all know
wearing
y'all shoes better,
Oh,
yeah.
right. I am not wearing new shoes that have not been broken in before I go on to like anything big like that, And yeah, I mean, I have 20-minute shoes where they should not be worn more than 20 minutes. And yeah, no, it's not happening right before a game. No, at
Hold
all.
on, hold
So,
on. You're gonna have to explain that to me and the rest of the male audience. You have shoes that you can only wear for 20 minutes at a time?
yes, they are like the ones that so if you're like going to a wedding or something like that, you're only comfortable in them for maybe 20 minutes and then you just take the pain because fashion is pain, and then by the time you get to the reception, those shoes are off. They're off. They're no good, but yeah, they're 20-minute shoes.
Hey,
So, and
that's
that's
the
maybe what Dak might be calling those shoes now, or 20-minute
yeah,
shoes.
right,
So,
right. Seriously.
yeah,
I hope he's
yeah.
got some good shoes ready for the weekend, ready for game day on Sunday night football.
Right,
Um,
right, right.
that's the important thing. Hopefully, I don't think it's a big deal. It sounds like it's not a big deal, but like I said, Twitter almost had a little meltdown yesterday.
Oh yeah, my phone started blowing up. Is this
Hmm.
real? What's going on?
Yep.
Just ridiculousness. So while we're on that subject, We do have a little injury report to talk about. Our biggest question still right now is Michael Gallup. What's going to happen? Is he on the field? Is he not on the field? What's going to go on?
Yeah, if I had to guess, I'm going to say Michael Gallup is not going to play. If that's what I'm hearing, what I'm going off of is that Michael Gallup will not play this week. Now, the plan is that, hey, they're looking to rush him back as soon as possible whenever he feels really comfortable. If he gets cleared and he comes back to play, I'm praying that it's fine and he's good to go. I have my doubts, but hey, if he can do it, more power to him because we need him out there. We really do. So, but I don't think it's going to be this week on week one. I think he's going to be one of your inactive guys. I just don't think he's ready yet right now.
Yeah. So then that leads us to think, okay, if Gallup is on the field, and is that Houston odd man out? And then we've got the controversy of, and had someone else besides Brian Broaddus said this?
Yeah.
That he's heard word that it's Tolbert that's not going to be active. So what are we thinking about all that?
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. If you're looking at who's active week one, your rookie third round pick wide receiver or your rookie undrafted free agent wide receiver. There is not only is Brian Broaddus, but Patrick No-C Walker is now reporting like, hey, he's kind of hearing that it might be Houston instead of Tolbert week one, and that Tolbert might be inactive. And he's saying don't be surprised. Basically, don't be surprised if that's what's going to happen. So that's kind of surprising to me. I know they say don't be surprised, but that's still surprising to me that Houston would get that call up instead of Tolbert week one. But we saw throughout training camp that Dak built that rapport and had a lot of chemistry with Houston.
Right.
We didn't see it in the preseason games because Dak didn't play in the preseason games, obviously. But we've heard a lot that Dak had that good chemistry with Houston. They played well together, and we'll have to see where it goes from here. But there are reports that Tolbert really hasn't caught on as quickly as they would have liked. And I know you've been saying that for a little while, Cam.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, and I know Dak's a better opinion than me, and he's probably seen more. But what I saw out of Houston, and it obviously had to be much more than what we saw out of Asher, because honestly, going in before camp, I thought, Vasher was that last slot in there, and it was him and Simi that were going to be fighting for it. And then, they must not have seen what they needed to.
Yeah.
Our last spot on our injury report is Jordan Lewis, and he was limited in practice yesterday. So, and that is a hamstring. It may be Deron Bland season,
I think it is Bland season. Look, hamstrings are fickle. Hamstrings
as Sean Lee.
Yeah, as Sean Lee. Like, hamstrings just seem to linger for whatever reason. They linger for a long time, and it's sometimes harder to get back, and it's easy to re-injure if you come back too early from a hamstring. So we don't want that. So I think that Jordan Lewis is probably going to be out this week. I think it is Deron Bland season. Hey, young guys got to step up, next man up, like they've said for years. Like that's the mantra, next man up. Bland had an outstanding camp, and he had even better preseason. So with him in the slot, I don't see it as big of a loss, and that might be surprising, especially coming from someone like me who wasn't the biggest Bland fan when we drafted him. From the way he's played, it's good. The big question is he's going to be playing in the slot. Is Tampa Bay's slot receiver Goodwin going to play? He's been limited. I think he missed their last practice. He did not participate in their last practice. So will he play? Will he not? Because that's a big thing. Because if Bland in his first ever game, if he's going to be going up against Goodwin or some other guy, that's a big question right there.
Right. And that kind of segues us to Tampa's injury report, and it's much longer than ours, which I don't want any of the guys hurt, but good. And talking about Goodwin, so he went from Wednesday, a full practice, wearing the jersey, the no contact jersey, to yesterday, no practice at all, which I don't know if that's them resting him, what's going on. So that's a big factor for Tom not to have on the field with him.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like Tampa Bay's got some issues going on over there.
Right.
That we'll get into in a little bit with the next topic, but they got some issues. So if he doesn't have the player like Goodwin, and they lost Antonio Brown, which we saw what Antonio Brown did to us last year.
Right.
So that's two big key players last year. Both of them caught touchdown passes last year against us. So if they don't have Antonio Brown, and if they don't have Goodwin, that's a big question mark for Brady and his arsenal against us.
Right. Now Tristan Wirfs did have a full practice, but yeah. I mean, that's a pretty important position to have something going on with your abdomen,
Yeah.
So who knows if he's actually play ready.
I think he's going to play, but he won't be at a 100%.
Right.
So that's a big question because, you're going to have him out there. You're going to have him, they're going to be moving guys around on the defensive line. You might have him lined up against Tank. You might have him lined up against Armstrong. Micah's going to be everywhere. So it'll be interesting to see how they take advantages of it and how limited he is in his ability to block for Brady. That's another huge question mark for them. Like people have been talking about the Cowboys question marks, but Tampa Bay's got a whole bunch of question marks on that team as well.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Like I'm looking at the report right now. 3 of them are hamstrings alone. And for some reason, Julio Jones was a non-injury related and wasn't at the Wednesday practice, but he was a full practice yesterday. So with that, how about we swing into a little bit of that with what you're looking for. Let's start with, how do we stop Tom Brady?
The blueprint for stopping Tom Brady has been out for like 15 years, maybe even longer. But the problem is, are you able to accomplish that blueprint? Because it's, hey, you got the blueprints to this bank vault, but are you skilled enough to get into the bank and break the vault open? Like, that's the problem with trying to stop Tom Brady. And the main thing is pressure. You pressure and you hit Tom Brady, he's going to make mistakes like any quarterback, and you can beat him. Now, the big question here is that Tom Brady is the fastest quarterback in release time. He gets that ball out and like that. And I think it's going to be even faster this year because of the offensive line issues this year. So what do? I honestly, Cam, I don't think that the Cowboys are going to be able to rush from the outside with a Armstrong, a Tank, a Fowler, and consistently get pressure on Brady where it's going to make a difference because he's getting the ball out so quickly, in my opinion. Where we have to get pressure is up the middle. And thankfully, that's where they're weak. The lunatic putting it right there. That's where they're weak right now on the offensive line. Their interior, they're on their third string center.
Right.
They got injuries in the guards. So that's where we got to Osa, Odigizua, Gallimore have to have big games. Bohanna have to have a big game. Micah Parsons, line him up, blitz him out the A gap, the B gap, line him up as a defensive tackle. He's done it plenty of times. This guy can handle those guys. He is that person. He is that player, as we found out last year. Blitz Brady up the middle. We all know he's not mobile. That's the quickest way to the quarterback. That's how the Cowboys are going to beat Brady, is by playing press man coverage, getting up on those receivers, not giving them a lot of separation right away for Tom Brady to get the ball out right away, and coming up the middle with some pressure. What are your thoughts?
No, I absolutely agree. And we're going to talk about my football husband a little bit because he is good against the run in that way.
Yep.
And so I think that combination of him and Micah coming in there and filling those gaps, we know it's the pressure on Tom. Also, Tom's doesn't have Gronk to rely on anymore.
Yep.
And that was always
that was
one of
another
his.
TD guy.
Right.
That's the 3 passing TDs from Brady
Right.
last year that are gone off this team. Two of them are for sure gone, and one
Yes.
of them we don't know if he's going to play in Goodwin.
Exactly. So, yeah, completely agree. Like you said, the blueprint's been out there. It's 100%. Do not let him release that ball quick like that. Get the pressure on him, and blitz, which was quite the opposite of last night's game. They didn't blitz once.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Right.
And we'll talk about the Bills maybe later on down the road, but they looked like mid-season form. That was crazy.
They look good, but I gotta say that their defense, their offense, the Rams' offensive line looked horrible.
Yeah.
But their defense didn't look too great either, and neither did Ramsey. Ramsey looked really like he struggled a lot.
He's
trying to keep up with Diggs.
A lot. Okay, let's swing in and okay. Let's talk about the key to us winning. What is the key to us winning?
Look, honestly, in my opinion, it's Dak Prescott. It's one thing. It's third down conversions, in my opinion. Well, two things. One, third down conversions, both offensively and defensively. Offense, convert your third downs, because we know the Cowboys' philosophy this year going into, they've said it. Mike McCarthy said it. Jerry Jones has said it. Stephen Jones has said it. They want to run the ball this year. They want to put an emphasis on the run. However I may feel about that, that's going to be the offensive game plan a lot this year. Is they want to take Zeke and they want to take Pollard and they want to run the ball a lot. Well, when you do stuff like that, you're going to put yourself in third down more often. It's just, that's how football goes. You're going to have more third down opportunities because you're not as efficient. You don't gain as many yards running as you do passing. That's just facts. So they're going to put themselves in more third down. We need to convert those third downs. Defensively, we need to get them to third down and we need to stop them, get off the field. That's huge. So that's one, third downs. Two, turnover battles. You win the turnover battle, you usually win the game. We saw that last year with the Cowboys consistently getting turnovers, led the league in turnovers. We need to continue to do that. We were able to get, I think, 2 or 3 turnovers against the Buccaneers last year. We lost in the last seconds, but still we need to repeat that and get turnovers. So third down conversions, turnovers, and that's our keys to winning the game.
Yeah. Mine's definitely Dak, and Dak getting that ball off quickly. I see a couple of factors that is going to have to help him with this success. Number one, we already know that Zach Martin's going to do his job.
Yep.
And this is where McGovern and Biotish, we're going to have it, because they are across the line from my dog, my beast of a guy. And Vita Vea takes up 2 guys on his own. Vita Vea, and so, we're going to have that. You're going to love this, and I'm going to need to see something out of your boy. I need some blocking out of Ferguson. I need Hendershot. Yes. We know Dalton Schultz isn't going to do it, but we need that blocking out of Hendershot and Ferguson. And that's going to be a key, not only in our passing game, but in the run game also.
Absolutely. So, expect a ton of 12 personnel. The Cowboys ran 12 personnel a ton last year in the beginning of the season. And then when Jarwin went down is when we stopped doing 12 personnel as much, because we didn't have the blocking tight ends as much. And Jarwin wasn't even a great blocker. We went
from like 5th in the league doing it.
Yeah. We went from one of the top teams and running 12 personnel with 2 tight ends to running almost barely running it, because we didn't have the tight ends we felt comfortable being on the field with the 2 tight end sets. So expect us to get back to that. McCarthy more loves running out of 12 personnel. I think that's going to be huge, and it's going to help our run game, and it's going to help the passing game, because we got 2 guys in Schultz and Ferguson who Ferguson can block, but they both can get out there and act like they're blocking, but then go out for a pass and catch the ball. We saw what Schultz did last year receiving. He's going to have another year like that. And then Ferguson's going to come in and try to fill in. And I think Ferguson can do it. And then Hendershot is more of your receiving, but even he can block a little bit. He's throwing his body around there in preseason. So I'm excited about what our tight ends can do, and just expect a ton of 12 personnel, which is really when this team is at their best, is out of 12 personnel.
Right. So let's talk about the run game a little bit. The feeling of, are you equally sharing those touches with Zeke and Pollard, or are you preferring one over the other because of the scheme of Tampa Bay's defense? How are you feeling?
It's difficult because I like the philosophy of Kellen Moore last year, where we take what the defense is going to give us. And we know that the Tampa Bay defense is not as strong against the pass as they are against the run. They're beasts against the run. And our offensive line isn't exactly amazing. So I think it's going to be another struggle to run the ball. We didn't run the ball well last year against them.
No.
So I think it's going to be another struggle. But I think I like the idea. I want to see it because they've said it, but they've never implemented it. But I like the idea of splitting touches with Zeke and Pollard. Now, I said touches. I didn't say carries.
Yeah.
Because I am completely fine with getting Zeke 15 carries and a couple catches, and getting Pollard 10 carries and 10 catches. That's fine. Use Pollard as a receiver because he has that ability.
Right. I've been saying all along, use him in the slot. Use him in the slot.
He played slot at Memphis. He knows how to do it.
Right.
100% behind that. So I'm fine with the touches. Now I need to see them do it because they've said that for a while and haven't done it. But split 50-50 touches, I think that's probably your best usage of both players. Absolutely. Get them on the field at the same time.
Right. So let's play a little game. You can either be Mike McCarthy or you can be Kellen Moore, and you get to set up the offensive line for this game, for game one. And
Okay.
you have to use people on the roster.
Okay.
Who are you lining up? From left to right.
So
or you go right to left, whichever.
I can use anybody, and it's my choice.
You are either Mike McCarthy or Kellen Moore, and you're making this call.
Okay, yeah, this is easy for me. From going from left tackle to right tackle. So left tackle, I'm starting Jason Peters. I know we just signed him. I'm fine. Doesn't matter to me. I'm starting Jason Peters. Left guard, give me Tyler Smith. Center, give me Farniak. Right guard, give me Connor McGovern.
What?
And right tackle, give me Zach Martin.
Wow. Okay.
I wasn't leaving Zach Martin off. That's your best five, in my opinion. That is your best five.
Gotcha.
And 100%, in my opinion, that is your best five. Now, the politics of the whole game, that's not going to happen. But that's your best five right there, in my opinion.
Okay. I have a hard time moving Zach Martin for many reasons.
We saw what McGovern did at right guard last year against the Bucs. He put Vita Vea on his knees.
But Zach Martin got injured.
Yeah.
And I'm not willing to put that on there. So I'm going to agree with you all the way up to center, but I'm keeping Zach Martin there.
Okay.
And then I guess I'm going to need Steele to step up and be that player in that position, because I can't risk Zach Martin beyond the season in that.
I wish they would practice it, like, hey, we need you every once in a while to play right tackle just in case. So training camp, preseason, we're going to throw, maybe not preseason, but training camp, we're going to throw you out there just to get your body ready for it and used to it, just in case something happens. We're not planning on it, but just in case something happens. And I really wish they would do that, but apparently Zach Martin's basically said no. And I mean, some people are going to have different opinions on it. Some people are going to have, he shouldn't get a say. Some people are going to be like, that's Zach Martin. Like, you respect his wishes.
Mhm.
So it really depends on how you feel on the situation.
Right, right, right. Okay, so let's talk about, we have seen a huge swing with this team. And this team for many, many years has been, our offense is better than our defense, that we are a very offensively minded team. Well, we need to be realistic this year. We're a defensive team. Our
Yep.
defense is what I believe is going to carry us through this season. What do you think that entails for us, and what's going to go on with the season, and how it's going to affect everything overall?
Yeah. So it's interesting because before last season started, the whole narrative was this offense is amazing. This offense cannot be stopped. And this
Right,
defense is really a big question mark. And as the season, the offense started off hot and the defense started off good. But as the season went on, the offense went down and the defense went up. And that you could say there was a lot of games, maybe even more games, where the defense won the game rather than the offense won the game. And now going into this year, it's been a complete 180, like you just said, where it's like, okay, this is a defensive team. And where is the offense going to lead us? The question marks are all on the offense. I tweeted this out a couple days ago, and I said, I don't think people realize how good this defense is about to be this year. And I honestly believe that. And I got pushback from different fans of different teams and stuff like that. And people saying, oh, you guys got worse. I don't see how you could possibly look at this defense and think we got worse on defense. Because
right,
if you look at it, Tank missed 10 games last year. Neville Gallimore missed 12 games last year. Micah Parsons, this blows people's minds. Micah Parsons had 2.5 sacks through the first 8 games.
right,
Two and a
right,
half.
right.
He had
Yeah,
10.5 through the next 9.
right,
So it took him a little bit to really get going and get used to, because remember, he didn't play football in 2020. He sat
right,
out his last year at Penn State. So this defense isn't going to need that half a season to really get going again. They're going to be able to fire because their players are there. They're ready to
right,
go. I love it. You got Diggs, you got Parsons, you got these young guys who got another year of football behind them. So they're
right.
getting more experience. They're only going to get better.
Mhm.
They're only going to get better. So I think I love this defense right now. This defense is going to be amazing. The question is how does the offense follow it up with them? They get the turnover. Is the offense going to make that team pay for the turnover? Are they going to score points, or are they just going to kick a field goal? That's the difference sometimes in a game, whether you score a touchdown or whether you kick a field goal on turnovers. So I have a lot of faith in the offense, a lot more faith than probably I should have.
Right,
Maybe it's me being a little bit of a homer. I don't know, but we are a defensive team this year, though. But our offense, I'll say this here, our offense will be worse than what the overall offense was. We were number 1 in points and number 1 in yards last year. We won't be that.
no,
Our offense will be dropped down. However, I think our offense will be better than the offense was at the end of the year last year, because we all know the offense was struggling at the end of the year last year. So I think our offense will be somewhere in the middle between where we peaked last year and where we bottomed out last year. But this defense, I think, is going to be the sky's the limit right now.
I agree. I agree. Yeah, we've definitely swung around. Some of the things I love about this defense is that we have probably one of the deepest safety rooms I've ever thought that I can
Man,
remember.
you're
I mean,
not kidding.
seriously. And we went from 2 years ago that they don't care about safeties, safeties don't matter, da da da, and somehow the pieces all fell in, and you look around that safety room and you're like, "Holy cow." And coming up with Izzy, the way that he's come in, and then hitting gold with Marquise Bell as an
Yep.
undrafted that we all thought might have been or should have been drafted, and
Mm-hmm.
somehow we end up with him. We retained CJ Goodwin in there. Jordan Lewis is what Jordan Lewis is, and we've got to accept that. I would love, I mean, well, I'm kind of going off into corners and all of that, but I'm trying to mix them all through. But Donovan Wilson
The
being there,
secondary,
yeah, the
yeah.
secondary, yeah, I'm starting to mix all the secondary through. But to see what we've gotten there, I mean, it's a nice thing.
It really is, and you're spot on. And Jaron Curse was a huge surprise last year. Shout out to Professor O. He was on that from the get-go. When we signed it, he said, hey, look, this guy's more than a special teams player. And he turned out to be a lot more than a special teams player. He was one of the best safeties in football last year.
Right.
Then you have Malik Hooker, who last year was coming off of that Achilles injury. And it took him a while. Like, he wasn't ready week 1. And then he got on the field and he started playing a little bit more. And as the season went on, you saw him get better and better. Now, I don't want to toot my own horn, but I'm going to toot right now. And I told people when we signed him that, look, Hooker can play in the box. And everybody's like, oh, no, he's a primarily free safety. Yeah, he played primarily free safety with the Colts, but this guy played some in the box at Ohio State. Like, he can play in the box. And what do we see last year? He played in the box a lot last year, and he played really well. This is a guy who's an all-around safety that can do it all. Hopefully he's continuing to progress, and he comes out ready to play again. We didn't hear a ton about him. I don't even think he really played in preseason that much. But he just had a quiet camp, and I hope he's just ready to go and just comes out playing football to the best of his ability, and he's back to what he was. Because if you remember when he was with the Colts and first came out, this guy was a rising star in football. And hopefully we can get him to back to close to that level.
Right. And then, one of my biggest fears, well, I've had some, concerns about the corner position, but at one point in time, we started talking about that linebacker room, and it was looking really thin. I mean, it was Micah and LVE. And at one point, it wasn't even LVE until he got signed. And it was like, holy cow, we're not going to be super strong. But if someone told you that your starting 3 linebackers this year was going to be Micah Parsons, Leighton Vander Esch, and Barr, and then you've got Jabril Cox there, came back from that injury, and he's going to be in there, to back someone up. I'm feeling a lot better about the linebacker room.
Absolutely, feeling a lot better. The signing of Barr was big. Is we moved him in and we got him acclimated. He played in the last preseason game, so he should be ready to go. He's not going to be he's going to be a rotation guy because we usually don't play 3 linebackers on the field at the same time.
Right.
But he's going to be playing in there. And a lot of times if Micah goes down at the edge, that's Barr's going to be your guy probably filling in there. And you're going to have some rotation with Jabril Cox, which we all loved his progression last year until the injury.
Right.
He looked good in camp. He looked fast in camp. I'm excited to see his continued progression because his big question was, we know he can cover. We know he can run with the running backs and tight ends out of the backfield. But, what can he tackle? And he's proven to be like, hey, yeah, he can chase down these guys and tackle. So I'm excited. Our linebacker depth is better than I thought it would be going in. And Devin Harper, even the rookie,
right.
has played a lot better than I think a lot anticipated him to play at the beginning of the year. Now we'll have to see. This is just training camp. This is just preseason. We all know that, sometimes you'll have these people stand out in preseason and training camp, and then it won't transition. So we're basing a lot off of that. But you have to take it over to the games, and hopefully this does carry over to the games for a lot of these rookies like a Bland and like a Harper, and we'll go from there.
Yeah. And we have Damone Clark in the vault.
Yes, in the vault.
And I'm so excited about that one. I'm really excited about him.
Yeah, so they're saying like he can come back this year, which just blows my mind. I can't even think, like, you just dude had spinal surgery. Like, I don't know how he can come back this year, but if he can, he can. We'll see what he can do. Even if he comes back, I don't expect him to contribute a ton.
Right.
And he's more of a future guy down the line, but that guy is crazy talented if he can make a comeback. Absolutely.
Yeah. Right. So let's talk about this season's predictions first. What is your prediction for the season?
Yeah, I've been up and down on my prediction for the season. At one point I dropped down to like 9-10 games, and I was like,
Wow.
that was before a couple of the moves, and I was kind of like, I wasn't really feeling it. I wasn't feeling what they were doing. I wasn't the hugest fan. I definitely wasn't the hugest fan of free agency. The draft wasn't the biggest fan of the draft. I did like some picks. I didn't like other picks. I have moved around. This defense has changed my mind a lot, and how good this defense can be, and how this defense can carry this team. And so I would go over the schedule, and I'd look, and I think we all do this as fans. We look at the schedule and we go, win, loss, win, maybe this is a toss-up, and I did it. And I did it like 10 times. And I could not bring myself to give us more than 5 or 6 losses.
Same.
And then I'm looking at it, and even sometimes I'm like, I got us like 13 wins, and I'm just like, man, this just doesn't sound right. But
Right.
just looking at the matchups, like it's there. So I'm going to go with 12-5 in a repeat 12-5 season.
Yep,
That's my final prediction.
That's exactly what I came up with. My biggest thing was going through and looking at our defense versus their offense, and just all the way through, all the way down. It does help that we are playing the NFC North, and we got Houston in there, and we pulled Jacksonville. So
yeah, there's some favorable matchups this year.
Right. So it did swing that way. Had we had a tougher schedule, I would have been more down in the 9 range too, because of our offense. But
I agree. Yeah. That's
so we're
there.
Before we get on to game predictions or anything like that, key player that has to step up, one on offense and one on defense for you?
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah.
Key
To
player
make this season successful.
Are you talking about season or game?
Let's do both.
Okay.
Game first.
First. Okay. Game. For offense, I'm going to say Tony Pollard for the game.
Okay.
Like I said, this Bucs defense is stout against the run. And I think Zeke is going to struggle running those tough yards. He's going to push it. We know the toughness of Zeke, but I think it's going to be a struggle getting through there with their run defense, with guys like Vita Vea and everything they have up the middle with Devin White at linebacker and stuff. They're just really tough.
Right.
So a guy like Pollard, who can capture the edge with his speed and then catch the ball out of the backfield, and you play in the slot and just free up. You're going to have those guys coming after Dak and catching them with a Pollard screen. I think it's just key to slow down that rush, get the pressure off Dak, not having them crash the line of scrimmage like they did last year, because now Pollard's going to the outside, capturing that edge. So offensively, I think it's Pollard. Defensively, is it cheating saying Micah Parsons?
No.
But I'm going to go Micah Parsons. Last year, it was Micah Parsons' first game. He looked lost out there a little bit. He hadn't played football in over a year. He was going up against a savvy quarterback in Tom Brady, so he didn't really have any pass rush. It wasn't the best game for him. I'm not saying he was terrible, but it wasn't the best game. It was his first game. So I think he is obviously we all know he's on a different level now. So I think with him rushing from everywhere, his speed against a guy like Tom Brady, him being able to go up the middle and get to Brady faster, I think that if Parsons blows up and has a Micah Parsons game, it could be a long day for the Buccaneers offense.
Awesome. So mine on offense is one Mr. Sedarian Lamb. And a lot of it is because what did we see last night in that game when Cooper Kupp was the main target and there wasn't target? Well, yeah. But the double team, the focus on him,
Mhm.
we kind of have that same situation that we're walking into.
Yeah.
Noah Brown, how much attention are they going to give to Noah Brown or Sima Fehoko when they're out there on the edge like that?
Mhm.
So it's CD season tomorrow or on Sunday night,
Yeah.
and I've really got to see, he's going to need some amazing catches happening on that. Um, my defensive side of the ball is Jaron Curse.
I like it.
And because of Tom being able to dump that ball off quickly, he's going to be looking for that through the middle with the slot. And I'm going to need Curse in there and making those big plays and covering in that way and take that away. Take that little safety net area away from Tom that he doesn't
Mhm.
have it. And I'm looking for J-Ron to be doing that.
And yeah, that's a great
So,
pick. And you got to remember another thing about the game last year is Jaron Curse wasn't really that guy yet in the season,
right,
and he wasn't playing that. He didn't play that much in that game.
right.
So yeah, that's a great pick.
Yeah,
Absolutely for the
yeah.
game.
So let's go for the season.
For the season.
Your standout, the person that's going to have to step up and have their year.
Yeah, I'm not going to say Dak. I think that's too easy.
Yeah.
So on offense, I'm going to steal your guy, and I'm going to
Yeah,
say
do.
CeeDee Lamb. I
Yeah,
think CeeDee Lamb has to have that big year because, like you said, he's that guy. It's time for him to step up. Hey, you were drafted for this. You were given 88 for this reason. They got rid of Cooper because they were like, oh, we have CeeDee Lamb. We don't, they were tired of Cooper and a lot of his off the field stuff and everything that was going on. But the reason they felt so comfortable doing that was because they had Lamb. So
right.
I think that's the guy who has to step up. He's going to be double covered. He's going to be the focus of defenses trying to stop him. And so, prove yourself. Prove yourself as that number one wide receiver. Prove yourself as that guy that everybody thought you were going to be when they drafted you and gave you that 88.
Right.
So he's that guy, in my opinion, that has to step up big time. On the defensive side of the ball, I don't want to go Micah Parsons again. I'm going to go Neville Gallimore.
Good on.
I like Neville Gallimore a lot. I'm a big fan of his. And one of the Achilles heel for this Cowboys defense, even when we didn't think it was that great, the Achilles heel was still the run defense up the middle.
Right.
Teams gassed us. Our last two playoff games, we gave
Horribly.
up over 200 yards to the Rams. We gave up 169 yards to the 49ers, mostly up the middle, just getting gashed, getting blown off the ball. Gallimore has to be that guy, in my opinion, to lead that interior defensive line, get pressure up the middle, blow up run plays up the middle. Don't get blown off the line. Don't let these offensive linemen bully us up the middle anymore. No more run game up the middle. Gallimore, I need you to step up and lead that interior defensive line.
Love it. Love it. Absolutely. So on the offensive side, my guy could be key to your guy having his year, and that is Michael Gallup. And I
There
need
you
Michael
go.
Gallup to come back from this injury. I need him to take some of that pressure off that CD's going to see before he gets on the field. And I need Michael Gallup to show us that he was worth every penny of that big contract that we gave him and that he is now our WR2 big guy on the other side, on the outside there.
Yep.
And I think that's going to be the key, that we have both of those guys out there. And they're going to make each other succeed. So
Absolutely. Yeah,
that's
you have to.
yeah.
Like I said, we probably won't have him this week, but he's going to come back and he's got to be. I feel way more comfortable about this offensive and this wide receiving core once Gallup comes back healthy, 100%.
Right.
So yeah, I'm right behind you. I agree with you 100%. Gallup is a huge one. Who's your defensive player?
It is Mr. Anthony Brown.
Ooh, oh, that's a great one.
When
That is a great one.
Yeah, I started looking through our schedule and I'm looking at some of these receivers that we are going to be up against. And, we need him to step up and he did so much better last year. I ate crow so bad after his performance last year because I was like, we're cooked. We're done.
Yeah. Especially after
and
that Tampa Bay game. He got
right,
cooked in that game.
right,
Yeah.
right. But, looking at some of these matchups, I went through each game and, who Diggs would possibly be against and who Anthony Brown would be against. And absolutely, I think he's a giant key to our success. I think, with having Deron Bland and Jordan Lewis, I mean, I would prefer if Anthony Brown played slot, but we know that's not
Brown, in my opinion, I'm with you. Brown is a better slot cornerback than he is an
right,
outside cornerback. But
right,
he's still a good outside cornerback. He's very
right,
underrated. This fan base
right.
hates him for no reason at all. I mean, I don't want to say no reason. Like, he does give up a big play every now and then. He does give up a penalty every now and then. The Raiders game last year really put that label on him really badly. So I get a little bit of the hate, but he's a lot better than people want to give him credit for.
Right. And you kind of just touched on, I was going to throw in a little extra on top of it. We have to be more disciplined. That is one of the biggest things for us to be successful this year is we have to be more disciplined. And we can't have these penalties. It's ridiculous. Yeah. No more. Done.
We can't lead the league in penalties anymore.
No.
We've got to clean it up on both sides of the ball. Both sides of the ball. Diggs. Right. That's one of the big things about Diggs. It's even more than the yards. We can talk about the yards allowed, which is one of the worst stats, in my opinion, to look at for a cornerback. Yeah. But the other is penalties. He was very penalized as a cornerback last year because he is grabby. He is handsy. So he needs to control those penalties, not get as many penalties. We got rid of Connor Williams, but, Tyler Smith is a guy who got a lot of penalties in college, and we've seen a couple penalties already from him in preseason. So he needs to clean that up. Hopefully he can clean that up. The pre-snap penalties got to stop on the offense. That's got to stop. Right. And you're 100% right. Our discipline has to be a lot better. And that stops with McCarthy. He's got to get control of this team.
And one thing I noticed is that besides Sam Williams, that last game against Seattle, where the first one was a ticky-tacky, sorry, yes, your hand hit the quarterback in the face.
Yeah.
That second one, I'm not putting up with. You don't stomp on anybody's face mask. You grow up. We don't do that. Okay. But what I saw in the previous games on defense, and we had guys lining up, not Jordan Lewis, but Kelvin Joseph lined up offsides, things like that. I didn't see those on this one and on this last game. Dan Quinn grabbed a hold of those boys and was like, no, sir, we're tightening up. We're not going to have as many. And I like to see that. Now we just need it on the offensive side of the ball also.
Yeah. So it's funny because Jay Tuck just stepped in the building. What's up, Jay Tuck?
Hey.
He brought up a good question on Twitter. I just saw, and I was actually just going to bring it up, but then I saw him. So, that's a coincidence. But he mentioned, we talked about Tolbert possibly being inactive. Sam Williams, there's some talk about him being inactive. And, what defensive ends are you going to – a defensive end is going to have to be inactive, just the way the numbers look like they're working.
Right.
So what is it? Sam Williams? Is it who's it going to be? Is it? That's a good question. Is it going to be Golston? Is it going to be
Basham?
Who's the guy down? Is it Basham?
Yeah.
Is it Fowler? I don't know if it's Fowler. Quinn really likes Fowler.
Right.
And he performed really well.
He did. He did. And with the amount that he sat out, I mean, he didn't even play the last game, correct?
Yeah, not really. Yeah.
I think he's pretty solidified in there.
So it's a good question if we're going to see whether or not Sam Williams is inactive week 1 or not. And that's like you said, it's tricky. Like, I don't know. Like it wasn't even on my radar until I saw his tweet, and I was like, man, that would be. And if you do that, you got to look at the draft and say our number 2 and our second and our third round picks are both inactive week 1. That's kind of troublesome. I knew this was a developmental draft.
Right.
I knew this was a developmental draft, but that's kind of
exactly
that kind of doesn't gives me a warm and fuzzy,
Right. Nope. Completely agree. So let's talk about our game predictions.
Yes.
And I want you to give me something really reasonable, and I want you to give me one kind of out there thing, out there play, something happen that you think's going to happen in this game.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. Let's
So,
let's go a little bold. I want you to give me your straight prediction and what you think's going to happen, and then I want you to give me just something really bold.
okay. Okay. So let me just get so game prediction, a regular prediction from a player, and then a bold prediction.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna go. I said this from the beginning when the first schedule came out. I'm gonna go with the Cowboys' victory here. I think the Cowboys get it done at home. They finally get over get the monkey off their back of Tom Brady. They beat Tom Brady for the first time in his career, and he's going to ride off. I think he's going to ride off into the sunset after this year. So we're going to beat him finally. I'm going to say the score is 31-24 Cowboys. My prediction where I think is kind of going to happen is give me a Tony Pollard 150-yard total yard game, receiving
Wow.
and rushing. That's not my bold. That's just my prediction. Give me
Okay.
Tony Pollard 150 total yards.
Okay.
My crazy out there. This is all right. Crazy out there. We're going to have a punt block and a block field goal in the game.
Wow.
Both.
Wow.
John Fossil stepping up. Special
All right.
teams, block field goal, and a block punt. There we go. Special
Okay.
teams.
Okay.
As Nick says, special teams matters. Let's
They
go.
do. Yep. Let's go. Let's go. Okay. So I've shifted my score a little bit from when I did the show with Steven on Tuesday. And I still think, yes, we finally break that jinx, and Tom Brady walks out with a big W or big L,
Miguel, yeah.
and the big L. And well, it kind of sounds like he's been dealing with a lot of that lately, but I digress. So I think that we're going to be 27-20 Cowboys.
I like it.
Since you gave a mid thing with Pollard, I'm going to say that Micah Parsons, 2 sacks.
There we go.
Tom
Let's go.
Tom gets sacked 4 times total.
Yes.
So
I love it.
that's my mid. And I am going to stick with my very much out there, very bold prediction that we win on an interception from Malik Hooker.
That's
I
right.
feel it.
Malik Hooker.
I'm going for it.
I love it. I love it
Yeah.
because Malik Hooker's my guy. That was the big signing last offseason that I was in love with.
Right.
He came through for me, played better at the end of the season. I think he's going to have a big year. And if he starts it off week 1 with the game-sealing interception, I love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I know you've got to get back to work.
I do.
We're going to wrap this up. Guys, I know I saw in the chat you guys were asking. Yes, the show is going to be on Thursdays. My schedule's a little bit crazy right now because I am the chairman of the Celebrity Clay Shoot for Texas Motor Speedway Children's Charity. That event's coming up, so I've had a lot of things going on. But yes, next Tuesday, you will see the 2 of us here, and we want to see all of you guys here. And we thank you all for tuning in. Mass, ready for this weekend?
I am so ready. I cannot wait. We're going to get that W. As Jameis Winston says, we're going to eat that W, right? We're going to eat that W.
Right.
And we're going to get the win, and we're going to get that monkey off our back, and people are going to realize, okay, wait, maybe this Cowboys team is a little bit better than we thought. Like last year.
Right.
Just like last year after the Tampa game. They're going to be like, all right, maybe this Cowboys team is a little bit better than we thought. And it is Thursday. It is Thursday. Every Thursday.
I'm with Steven on Tuesday. I'm with Mass on Thursday. So yeah. So that I want everybody to have a great day. Get ready for this weekend and go Cowboys.
Go Cowboys.